This podcast is brought to you by LMU Munich.
Okay, so I will be reminding you now the rules of lightning talks and what are lightning talks about in general. So you can speak to us about anything except of commercial activities. So like you cannot sell anything and you cannot do recruiting on this session. Everything else you can. You can talk about your community, about the awesome party you had last night. I saw on Telegram, yeah. You can tell about the projects that you're doing if you need more contributors to your open source projects, or you can just tell us some jokes. The only rule is 5 minutes. You need to fit in 5 minutes, and if you're announcing some events like a conference, then in the best case you would fit in the half of that. It just will get boring afterwards. So please, traditionally it's the most nice and exciting part of the conference because there are so many content packed in these little sessions. And I'm very happy to see you again here on this stage. Let's welcome Rachel with the first lightning talk.
Thank you. Can you hear me at the back? Are you awake at the back? Is this working? Yes, good. Okay, I'm here to tell you about the Turing Festival and why you should come to it. So the Turing Festival, I hear you ask, what is that? It is the technical festival that we hold in Edinburgh in August. Why you should come to it, A, it's going to be brilliant, I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, but also you should come to it because if your company funds you to go to conferences, we have the festival. Come to Edinburgh in August for the festival, call it work. What's wrong with that? So, why should you come for the technical stuff? Well, because we have 4 strands: product, strategy, marketing, engineering. I'm co-hosting the engineering track. I am going to be introducing Joel Spolsky on stage. Does any of you know who that is? Yeah, cool. It's that level of people that we have. It's ridiculously good value. It's £225 for 2 days. It's £149 for 1 day. It's going to be amazing. We're going to also have Adam Gross, who is the CEO of Heroku. We're going to have Gareth Williams, CEO of Skyscanner, guys from Oz. We're going to have loads of fantastic people. Edinburgh is a brilliant place to come and do technology because we have more unicorn companies than Manhattan. We have 2. They have none. And what I particularly like about Turing is we have tech founders talking in the business streams. We have business founders, CEOs talking in the tech streams. This is absolutely brilliant. Right, so that was 1 minute, 31 seconds, including your initial applause. I'm now going to do my second lightning talk, because I can talk fast, which is why you should talk at lightning talks. Well, you should do it to practice. I am shy. I'm an introvert. You may not believe this, having seen me twice today, but I am. And you can Google me on, I did a tech meetup talk about how you get over being shy introvert and still do talks, if that's what you want to do. The way you do it is like everything else. You practice. Doing a lightning talk is a brilliant way of doing a practice at doing a talk of any length because it's only 5 minutes long. What can possibly go wrong? My third lightning talk, because I still have 2.5 minutes. Side projects. You should do side projects. They're absolutely brilliant for your technical career, for your business career. If you're a freelancer like me, it gives you the opportunity to play around with new technology, trying to do something that's real, not just learning it from a book, not going on a course, build something. Then you've got something to talk about. Then you can come and do a lightning talk on it. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, thank you. Ready? Stefan, applause, 1, 2, 3.
Hi everyone. Just like Rachel, I'm actually a shy person and I practiced until I started liking talking in front of people. So here I am. I don't talk as fast as her though, so I'm going to need the full 5 minutes. I'm a CTO at my company, but this week was kind of a quiet week and I got to code, which made me happy. I don't code that much anymore. And what I did was I looked at a project that I wrote 5 years ago and I compared the ways that I wrote Python back then when I just learned it with what I do now. And I'm actually going to compare what I did back then and today and ask you if you think that's actually better or I got a worse coder over time, which actually could have happened. All right? So let's start with something easy. You have a list or an iterable of things in Python and you want to find the first thing that matches some predicate in there, right? Just as a very stupid example, I would obviously never do this. Have a function that tells you if it's what you want, and then run filter on it and pick the first one. Stupid example, I'm just, mentioning it for warming up here.
And it fails in Python 3.
It fails in Python 3. In Python 2, it unwraps the whole list into memory, so it's bad simultaneously in both Python versions. Also, it fails if you don't find anything that matches your predicate. So you end up catching an index error at that point. At that point, you just facepalm. These days, I do this. So that's the next thing that I call on a generator expression, and that last parameter is a default, so it doesn't throw whatever exception the iterators throw. Now, if you think that's a nice and understandable way of doing it, knock on your table right now. See, that's the problem. It's actually not, it's not as nice to read. People on Stack Overflow promote this, but I would actually prefer a find first or find or just something which exists in JavaScript and Java 8 now. Maybe we can get it in Python, please. How about renaming properties in a dictionary, in an object? We have Mongo, which 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we liked because it was schemaless. Now we dislike it because it's schemaless. You end up with stuff like this. If you happen to find an old property, rename it to the new one. This actually looks pretty straightforward. These days, I do this. Now, who knows this existed and thinks it's a good practice? Yeah, a couple more knocks. It is, again, the recommended thing, the top voted answer on Stack Overflow for this kind of thing. But pop on a dictionary is a bit weird. That's something reserved for queues and stacks. You need to really know, which goes against the principle of being readable in Python. 5 years ago, I was in love with zip and izip, and I found this line of code in my code, and I cannot understand it today. It's an izip, which is immediately unwrapped into a list. That makes no sense. And then I make two different uses of the multiplication operator over there, which is actually not multiplication. Holy shit. I don't use zip anymore. What do you do to check if an object is none? Again, Mongo spews out whatever. You need to check if stuff is none before you access properties on it. That first one is okay, but I find Python's ternary operator not the most awesome thing to read, so it doesn't flow very naturally. The next one is getting a bit weird to read, especially if you start chaining it longer and longer and longer. How do you guys feel about this one? Abusing the short-circuiting behavior of the AND operator in Python. Someone loves it. Can I get any knocks for this? One loud knock. So what's in the name variable after running this? People think it's false because they think and something and evaluates to true or false. It doesn't. It actually evaluates only the first one. It evaluates to something falsy, and it's none afterwards in name. If you use it as an empty tuple and you rerun that line up there, the empty tuple is going to be in name. So you got to be very careful with what you're doing here. It doesn't always do what you want, but it reads kind of nicely. You should just use JSON schema to validate what comes out of your MongoDB. Then stuff will break before it enters Python. And have you guys heard this? The recursive default dict. So default dict is nice. Recursive default dict is even nicer because you can be like adding, like chaining expressions like this, building up deep trees on the go. Until you do this, and then now we have an axis of an item that actually creates something as a side effect. That's weird. And now we have a property called porps. I have about 30 seconds left, so talk about meta classes, right? At least can I get a vote if you think meta classes are a good idea? Yeah, they can be. You can completely change the meaning, the expectations, completely break the expectations of Python, but if used right, they're a great tool. Thanks for your attention.
Hello, I'm Shimin from the Institute of Embedded Systems. It's my 27th, and I thank you for coming to this lecture. So, contents. What we are going to do now is we will be very motivated. Then we talk about IDT, PIC, PIT, FCFS, SJN, priority scheduling, RR, and SRT. So what is this? Okay, so the truth is it doesn't matter for this lecture. So coming to the real part of this talk, this was just to wake you up. I'm the koala guy. But I will not be talking about koala. I will be talking about the ultimate solution to boringness. So assume you're bored, because we are programmers, we don't have anything to do the whole day, we don't have any projects to do, so we are bored all day. And since we're at a PyCon, and it is even PyCon Web, so we're all web developers, let's talk about C. That's what I thought when I was a student. So I wrote an operating system kernel, right? What better ways to use your free time? So I do want to talk a bit about the technical things. So maybe you find this interesting and actually get into this in your free time and waste all your following weeks on that. I did it. It was totally fun. Yeah, high DPI screens at work. So interrupts at an operating system kernel. Whenever you press a key, an interrupt gets fired. Or whenever a timer interrupts, an interrupt gets fired. Is there any timer for the lightning talk, by the way? Oh, okay. So you have to actually, if you want to write this, you have to write assembly code, which is something that Atom doesn't even understand anymore nowadays. And you can, if you're very, very modern, you can write macros. And then you can write lots of interrupt handlers that call then your C code, which could be a general interrupt handler, which would then call other functions that would do things. And eventually you can like type something and something appears on your screen and you're super excited, and then your girlfriend looks at you like you're crazy. Yeah, so I do want to share one thing that I did. I was totally crazy about that. I did beeping. Yeah, so I wrote an actual driver. This is how you write drivers. You basically just write stuff into memory. So you make like structs and you define like the first 16 bits are this and then this and then this. And then you just write stuff in there and then automatically stuff happens, right? This is how it works, and this is like how you can set an interrupt in the interrupt descriptor table. That is the IDT. Those abbreviations actually exist. And then you can, for example, hard code some frequencies. And then you can do this. So this was like a major achievement. Writing a driver. So for that you need a timer and you need a sound driver, right? Why is this relevant to me? And why am I doing this talk anyway? First, it's fun. That is like really the main reason. You should have fun. Be sure to take your part of the fun. This project is actually how Koala was created, because I was asking my colleague who was studying electrical engineering, like, do you want to join in? And he was like, you're crazy. Go away. I'm going to write some code checking routines. And then he wrote Koala. And if you want to hear more about that story, you have to come to my talk tomorrow, From Fun to Business, which is about fun and a very, very tiny bit about business, but more about fun. You can get more information about Koala. You cannot hack on Yafos, which is the operating system kernel, because it's no longer developed. It was fun, but it's not anymore. And we are doing a hackathon on Monday, and if you want to join in, you can go to t.me/sils1297. You have to take a photo of this. You will not remember that. At least I wouldn't. And then you can join in. If you want to hack on Yafos or Koala or whatever. Then I thank you for your attention, and I'm waiting for some photos to be made. Cool. Thanks a lot.
So now please welcome Patrick.
Hi everyone. Who knows about EuroPython? Oh. There's someone who doesn't know about it. Anyway, it's a Python conference about Python, and it's gonna be in Europe, and it's back again this year, in 2017. It's gonna be in Rimini, Italy. It's gonna be from the 9th to the 16th of July. If you don't know Rimini, it's a great location, and there is some picture. This is the place where the conference is gonna be. This is some places of Rimini. There is beach, and there is food. And we are going to have some great keynotes. We also have published the full list of talks that we're going to have. It's about, I think it's more than 200 talks. And yeah, the keynote's going to be really amazing. There is Tracy Osborne, data visualization stuff, Armin Ronacher, Catherine Jarmuth, and also Daniele Procita and Asha Bell about Python in Africa, which is really interesting. And there's going to be more. This is the rough schedule. So on Sunday, it's going to be Beginner's Day, Junglers, and there's going to be 5 days of trainings, conference, and keynotes, of course, and then it's going to be 2 days of sprints, or if you want, you can go to the beach. Also, there are some discounted flights. You can find all of the information on the website. So if you're coming by flight, check those out because it's really good. And this is all you need to know. If you can take a picture, you can go to the website, and that's it. Thank you.
Yes. So as soon as you return from Rimini, you should be ready for the next conference, and it will be PyCon DE. So another Python conference in Germany. It will be in Karlsruhe. And the dates will be the 25th to the 27th of October down here. So the last week of October in Karlsruhe. We will open this call for papers and registration soon in the next days or weeks. We will start. And the location will be in this CKM, which is a very nice location. Whoever knows about Karlsruhe knows it's a very interesting place, the Center of Art and Media. It's a very interesting location. We already have a few sponsors lined up, so if you're interested in sponsoring the conference, you're welcome to become a sponsor and put your logo besides Daimler and SAP, if you like. We have a team of a few people organizing these, so if you're interested, you can also help and organizing the conference. But first of all, you should come and attend. So we will open the call for papers soon, so you can have a talk. We'll probably also have sprints there at this location. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Daniel.
Thank you. My talk has the name The State of SOAP. SOAP. Anyone used SOAP for a project? Just a few people. So it's a C object publishing environment. It was the first web object publishing framework. It was open sourced in 1998, so it's old. It's a monolithic application server developed by a large community. There are many users of SOAP in this large time span. There are a few other projects using it as a base, CMS, Union CMS, and many more. There are even there are even companies built their whole business around this application server. And yeah, did I forgot something? Okay. Of course, that's flown. What you see here is the commit history of a core package of SOAP. And as you can see, around 2013, SOAP has been declared dead by a few people. So what happened? People invented or used more modern frameworks, Pylons, Pyramid, Flask, even Django, leaving many users behind. And it was still supported by a few developers, mainly driven by the clone community. So what about Python 3? The sunset of Python 2 is in 2020. So it's like a big bang scenario for all of those who stick to it. But hey, a large part of the libraries used in SOAP are already ported. So those clone community and other communities using SOAP 2 came together and declared SOAP's not dead and started SOAP resurrection sprints. We had 3 sprints already. in the last month, and I want to invite you to a SOAP 4 Phoenix sprint. Its goal is to get a SOAP 4 beta running on Python 3. So if anyone wants anyone wants to help SOAP 4 from the ashes, to raise it from the ashes, feel free to register at Meetup and join us. Thank you very much.
Remember, you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay, great. Well, I didn't realize I was doing a talk, so you can all look at a blue screen for 5 minutes, I hope. But yeah, my name is Mahmoud. You may recall me from the URLs talk if you were just there. But yeah, I figured I'd get up and talk about a little thing I work on called Wikipedia. Has anyone here heard of Wikipedia? All right, you guys have that here too in Europe. Okay, that's great. Yeah, no, actually Wikipedia is huge in Germany. There's a gigantic German chapter with something like 50 employees. I wouldn't be surprised if one or two of you know someone who works for Wikimedia German chapter. But there's this really exciting project that I just recently understood, despite it being under development for 4 years now. It's called Wiki Data. Has anyone here heard of Wiki Data? Oh man. So, see, in the United States, like, there would be no hands up. Anyways, well, I'm going to explain it anyway. So, as I understand it, Wikidata is how we are going to refactor facts. So, let me see. Does anyone know how often the population of the United States changes officially? Not like a baby's born every minute and a Mexican comes every 2. But they're welcome. If you ask me, they're welcome. Their food is delicious. You guys don't even know. You should really go try a burrito. Anyways, the point is that this fact changes officially how often? 10 years. Very good. So you could go update the Wikipedia article for the United States and say that it's, changed to such and such number. And you could do that probably in English, German, maybe Dutch, I don't know. Yeah, you could do it in a few languages. But the problem is, I'm from Iran, right? And the average Iranian doesn't know how often the, population of the United States or Bolivia changes, right? And a Bolivian person is not going to go to Farsi Wikipedia and change their country's population there. And there are 280 languages of Wikipedia. And for quantifiable facts like this, what we really need is a language-agnostic fact repository. And that is what Wikidata is. So you're able to go into the article and transclude a fact. Say that this fact, like population, belongs in this place. And the article on Wikipedia instead becomes like a template. And it's embedding these facts so that when the population changes in the United States, somebody can just change it one place and it changes in all the languages. That's beautiful, right? As programmers, I think we can all respect that that's actually a very elegant, very beautiful thing. So, this is something that I want to see happen. However, the space is gigantic, right? Like, if Wikipedia is some two-dimensional thing, then Wikidata is definitely three-dimensional, maybe 4. It's a graph store. It uses a thing called Sparkle, and it is exceedingly complex, and it's in need of population with facts. And the only way that we're going to get those facts in there is through automated means, right? That means code will have to be written, and programmers will be needed to understand the data models necessary to represent those facts that are already in sort of these plain language Wikipedias. And really, I don't see any other way forward, right? A few years ago, if you would have asked me, I say, KISS principle, right? Keep it simple. What's on Wikipedia seems to be working for me. It works for you. German Wikipedia is amazing. And, but the fact is that once I understood the role that these smaller language Wikipedias can play, like Spanish and Arabic Wikipedia and all the African countries and so forth, it became very clear to me that we need to get these facts on an even playing field, and that means that we need programmers to populate Wikidata. So if you're curious about that sort of thing, feel free to get in touch with me. My email is my first name, mahmoud@hatnote.com. That's a hat note. I have a minute, so I'll explain to you what a hat note is, just a bit of Wikipedia trivia so you feel smart. So at the top of an article
Have you ever seen a thing that says, this article is about Mars, the candy bar. If you're curious about the planet, then go click this article over here. That is called a hat note in the Wikipedia community. It's like a footnote, but it's on the top, so it's a hat note. Yeah. So now you're all inside on the joke, and you're all Wikipedians as a result. So I strongly recommend just send me an email. I'll connect you with the right people. You got an excellent chapter here in Germany. You know, they're going to definitely take care of you and get you involved. There's a lot of work to be done, and I hope to do it with you soon. Thank you.
Brave American man.
Get out of here. It's 6 a.m. I'm just delirious with lack of sleep.
Okay. And now, please welcome Ivan.
I want to talk about how to put programmers in boxes. And the two main boxes we are all usually put in is people who have a CS degree and people who don't have a CS degree. But there are many more boxes. You can put people and programmers in like, okay, people who like statically typed languages and people who like dynamically typed languages. And there's tons of boxes that recruiters, hiring managers, you yourself will put you into. And this could limit the way you think about all your possibilities. You might work in agencies and startups as a freelancer, or you might work at Siemens, and you must see if you can kind of break out of the box if you want it at some point in your career. So let's see what are the typical characteristics of those programmers. So first you would have the experienced Rusty programmer. This would be somebody who likes statically typed languages, is really maybe fits a bank, really likes the big salary paycheck, and feels secure about working in a certain environment. Whereas if you have the trial and error programmer, by the way, you have really data on this, like we interviewed like 5,000 engineers and we made these boxes, so it's like data-driven. So this would be somebody who reads Hacker News all day long and tried out 5 JavaScript frameworks before lunch. And this is somebody that might feel very well at an agency, early stage startup, and, well, really wants to make things happen. Kind of related to that is the product programmer. This would be somebody who really wants to get shit done, to deliver business value, and really like be close to the customer. That might be somebody who transitions into the product owner position or a scrum master position. Completely the inverse of that would be the technical programmer. Somebody who likes OCaml, Haskell, really wants, things to be mathematically proven that it actually works. Somebody like this might work on like a huge Haskell application that in the end just prints out hello world. If you want to chat more about hiring engineers, please reach out to me, and I promise I won't put you in a box. Thank you.
What can I say, guys? Thanks a lot for your tweets. I would like to see more tomorrow. Yeah, it will help us to kind of collect all of the history, all of the images, and all of your impressions and emotions during our conference and present it next year for other attendees for the future of the PyCon Web 2018 as well. So looking forward to your tweets. Definitely take a part of it. And until we
have one more important thing. Now we are done, let's say, with the first day of the conference. And this was not the first day of the 17th edition of the conference. It was the first edition of the conference and the first day of this conference. So why don't we ask our crew to come here on the stage? Let's ask for the crew. We are very happy to do this, and I'm sure that the crew is also happy because you are a great audience, great people, and we are so excited about it. So thanks to you guys, thanks to the crew.